Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chorizo Show. This is Joseph back at it again with another library blog for you. Now, I don't know if I'm going to consider this a full-on book review because I do have like a separate playlist for just stuff that I read from the library, and there's only a couple of videos that are attributed to that. So, hey, here's another edition, right? Now, the show is going to take a bit of a turn. Those of you that have kept up with the episodes we've been doing, I just had Jeremy on and we celebrated our 2-year and 100th episode video. That was really fun, and we kind of explained on there that we wanted to take the show in a couple of different directions just as an experiment, just as a little bit of fun, right? So our next video that we're going to be doing very shortly is a video on the West Memphis 3 case. Now, upon doing a little bit of research on this, I was surprised at where I landed at some of it, and it's going to be controversial, and it's definitely going to be different from the stuff we normally do here. So that's going to be upcoming, and I'm really excited to see where you guys are going to be with me on that. If we're going to get some people kind of not liking that, or if we're going to get a little bit more eyes on the channel. So it's going to be fun to see. But I need to give some love to the San Antonio Public Library, as always. Aryan, shout out to you. You got me really into this. He really utilizes the library, the app. He's constantly burning through books and going back to it. So we got to shout out a public service here, guys. And I live down the street from a library, and it is awesome just going there and see the new stuff they're bringing in. And that's kind of where this happened, completely randomly. So I was walking down the sci-fi fantasy section, and this particular volume of this, Grey Bastards by Jonathan French, the spine of it is this like really bright orange, and it's a trilogy, so they all kind of have this like bright like highlight color. So it caught my eye. I was like, the Grey Bastards, how random, what is that? I pull it out and I see this striking image on the front of this orc looking motherfucker. And it, of course, it's hard to like not know this if you've seen the image before, but it's very, very clearly a nod to the Sons of Anarchy. So that poster looks very much like this. This is something that the project itself is very reminiscent of a biker gang, Tolkien, spaghetti westerns. Jonathan French said that himself in the blurb of this. So he said that. And it's a love letter for sure. This guy wears his influences on his sleeve for sure. And he's not ashamed of it. And that's part of the fun of this book. Now, I don't really see this working for everyone. I think you have to come into this with a certain mindset. These guys are basically a take on the Sons of Anarchy. The Grey Bastards are a group of half-human, half-orcs that live in a place called the Kiln. There's a amazing sort of world building aspect to this story, which is really fun as you go through with our main character Jackal. You know, there's elves and there's how the half-orcs are made, and they have this whole system. Very cool. So you're with them, and they live in this like almost like a barren wasteland. And as you go through the story, you kind of discover more and more about the world and where some of the alliances are, and it's just real fun. I think one of the criticisms that this book gets is how crass some of the language and some of the jokes are. And I get it, man. I was getting a little bit annoyed with it myself. I had to come to terms with, hey, that's just what he's doing here. And you got to be along for the ride. And if that's going to turn you off early on, then I would just read something else, honestly. But if you can get past it and you can go, okay, these are like biker gang orcs, then just fucking roll with it, you know? It is going to have all the things that you can imagine an orc biker gang is going to have. They're going to have cool weapons. They're going to have like crossbows that they treat like shotguns. They ride hogs. Now that's a clear joke, calling Harleys and that kind of thing hogs. But they get on these hogs and they ride them around, and there's this whole like, you can only get in the bastards if you have to kind of be initiated, and there's this whole system of it. And their ruler, the Claymaster, who's got an interesting backstory here, deems it that you can only ride the hog if you're fully in armor, and there's sort of idea about whether or not that's, you know, people are into that or not. Our main character Jackal is not really about it. They all have kind of cool names too. They start off as slopheads, and they're sort of the lower echelon of these guys, and they have to kind of work their way up to being initiated into the gangs. Our main character Jackal is unhappy with the ruling, with Claymaster, our ruler, and wants to take him out of the seat of power because he thinks that he's making some bad calls, and you completely understand why he wants to do this. And then when some revelations happen, when he not really changes his mind, but when he sort of understands the scope of everything that's happening, you understand why he sort of looks at it different. And you kind of go, okay, well, things are a lot more complicated than they seemed at the beginning. And I actually found that to be kind of genius on Mr. French's part, is because you expect that this is a simple, it's just like orc bikers. You expect the story to be real simple. They're just going on adventures, and he's just going to write these fight scenes and kind of play around with the orc and elf tropes and the halflings and whatever. The traditional D&D Tolkienesque fantasy stuff. You think he's just going to kind of play with that, and he does. But the intrigue in here and the alliances, and people make really bold decisions against one another. You see betrayals, and you get why certain betrayals happen, and then you find out, you understand where they're coming from, and then why our main character and other characters forgive certain things. And there's a little bit of an inward, like, oh man, I really don't understand what was happening here, and I have to recalibrate my thoughts about my standing in the group and what I think the group even is, and you know, how little I've actually been shown this whole time. I found that to be kind of intriguing for what I initially thought was just going to be a sort of a rock and roll version of Tolkien, and it ended up being a page turner. I was like going through it, going like, well, I want to know what happens next. These characters are interesting. We've got things like called Thrice Bloods, which is really fun. There's like lady orcs. There's interesting stuff like a character called the Sludge Man. I don't want to spoil it, but that character ends up being super interesting. A half orc wizard shows up at one point, and he's got some secrets that sort of come out as the story goes on, and that's really fun. That's really interesting. Happened to be one of my favorite characters in this. I also really liked the sort of the centaurs. There's centaurs in here that go berserk when a specific phase of the moon is in the air. The halflings in here were really fun. There's a whole like god system with the halflings, and Jackal gets mixed up in that, so that's kind of fun. There's a character called Fetch, who is like one of the characters that sort of grows up with Jackal, and she kind of is in the Grey Bastards, their crew, and really feels like she had to earn it the whole time, and because she's a lady orc, that doesn't really happen. So she's got a lot of baggage with that, and that's real interesting. So basically, like, I really wanted to see what was going to happen at the end of this story. I want to keep going. This is a trilogy. I'm probably going to go to the library like right after I turn this off and pick up the next one, just because I want to see where it goes. It's pretty lighthearted. It's not heavy. It is very easy to read. The action in here is written real fun, and it's cool to just like imagine in my head these conflicts, like hearing about the centaurs come in and how these badass like fighting veterans in this biker gang like find the centaurs to be formidable. So I'm in my head going like, damn, like how big are these things, and in my head the clashing of them, and when them on their hogs, they come in and they're in formation, they're talking about how the little conflict is going to go. I found that all to be real fun. So yeah, I'm going to keep going. I want to see where this is going to go. I don't know, because a lot of times with trilogies, they sort of come on strong, and I've seen it happen multiple ways where the first book is the best one. I've seen it where the second one, because you've already gone through the origin stories or the beginning of it, the second one is even more interesting. So I don't know where this is going to land. We'll see. But I am excited to keep going with this while I jump through some other books and kind of, I don't know where I'm aiming at now. I don't know what books I'm going to be reading after that or in between them. But this is fun. I really enjoyed myself. So on that, I think I'm going to get out of here. I think if you're down with that concept, you're really going to like it. So on that note, I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned for our West Memphis 3 discussion. I think that is going to rile up some people because after doing some research, I understand why there's people on both sides of that fence. So stay tuned, guys. Come back and watch some more of the Chorizo Bros videos. We'll see you next time.